All right, kicking off your post-game show here at Viejas Arena. Utah State drops this one 89-72. Your post-game show brought to you by Farm Bureau agent Brandon Jensen. Contact Brandon, 435-752-4800. It's your future, time to protect it. Well, Utah State, another tough road trip as the Aggies lose back-to-back games to Nevada and now to San Diego State. And the Aggies will come back home to Logan for a showdown against Grand Canyon. The Aggies will have 2 out of the next 3, the final 3 at home, with battles, of course, against Grand Canyon. Then you got UNLV, then New Mexico to finish up the year. All really good teams, 2 of which have already beaten Utah State already this year. And one being New Mexico, who, well, it's New Mexico. They're always good. So that should be a battle for Utah State, who just got out physical tonight. Frankly, from start to finish, this is one of those games where Utah State just got beat up. This was Aztecs playing Aztec basketball. What you know and seen for San Diego State for all these years is what we saw on display tonight. They were more physical. They set the tempo. They kept Utah State in a half-court game. And here's Utah State only had, on their 24 made field goals, only had 11 assists. And that number went up quite a bit near the end of the game. Utah State unable to really generate many assists on their offense tonight. And that was absolutely one of the issues that San Diego State does that to a lot of teams. They get you out of your offense. They force you to scramble and play isolation, get you late in the shot clock where you're taking bad shots. And Utah State, the ball stuck way too much. They couldn't run their stuff. And because of that, the Aggies faltered. And defensively, Utah State not good at all, in the especially in the first half, leaving wide open threes. That is something that, again, you look at last year, and there's a lot of people who are going to point to how Utah State struggled down the stretch. Defensively was one of the big issues Utah State had down the stretch in that season last year. Now Utah State seeing some struggles defensively against Nevada and tonight against San Diego State. Can Utah State? That's why this Grand Canyon game is absolutely critical to figuring out where Utah State is and how they can get themselves back on track after back-to-back losses. All right, let's take a break, come back. Utah State loses this one 89-72 as the Aggies come back to Logan trying to finish off the season with a winning streak after their 8-game winning streak snapped with back-to-back losses at Nevada and now tonight at San Diego State on the Aggie Sports Network from Learfield.
Hi, I'm Justin, owner of Master Auto Tech on Wall Avenue in Ogden. Have you noticed your vehicle's exhaust being loud and rattly? At Master Auto Tech, we diagnose and repair exhaust issues to help restore performance and protect your vehicle. With 25 locations across Utah, including Logan, Brigham City, and Ogden, there's always a Master Auto Tech nearby. Your trusted exhaust experts since 1963.
Your trusted, helpful expert, Master Auto Tech.
For more than a century, couples have shopped at S.C. Needham Jewelers. Known for a large selection of beautiful diamonds, we now have both natural and lab-grown diamonds. You are sure to find a diamond engagement ring that will fit your budget. The possibilities today are endless as you select the perfect ring. Show her you'll cherish her forever with a diamond, either natural or lab-grown, from the store where Utah gets engaged. S.C. Needham Jewelers, middle of the block, at the sign of the clock.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
Snow and black ice are here to stay for a while. If your tires aren't ready, neither is your vehicle. At Express Auto and Tire, they work with all vehicles and all tire sizes, making winter traction and safety their top priority. Name brand tires are always less at Express Tire. As a Point S Tire location, you're backed by a nationwide warranty. Get winter ready with no appointment needed. 3200 North Main.
Express Tires for less.
Where tires and service come together.
This Aggie broadcast is brought to you by DD Auto and Salvage. No job is too small or too large. On News Talk KVNU, covering Utah State sports like no one else.
Diego State 55% from the field, including 60% in the second half. It was the three-point shooting that really got San Diego State cooking there in the final 10 minutes of the first half. And then San Diego State able to take that 13-point lead into the break, and Utah State was never able to cut it any closer than 15 after San Diego State started the second half on a 5-0 run, leading the game by 18. And, 15 is about as close as Utah State could get it. Never could make that big push to try to kind of get San Diego State on their heels a bit. And the Aggies end up losing badly tonight, 89-72. Hey, remember the game's over, but safety isn't. Buckle up before you head on home or wherever you might be. It's all brought to you by the Bear River Health Department. All right, expected to hear from Jerrod Calhoun here momentarily as the Aggies reeling a bit after back-to-back losses to Nevada and now to San Diego State. Aggies will take on Grand Canyon coming up on Saturday. Remember, that's another late tip, so considering the recent trend of games, you're probably looking at another slide. So you're looking probably at about an 8:15 start, 7:30 pregame show right here on these same stations. Let's go through some scoring. MJ Collins gets it going late, ends up with 18 points, 4 of 5 from the free throw line, 2 of 6 from the three-point line. Mason Falslev, 14 points, but struggling from the field. 5 of 13, hit a couple threes there in the back end of the second half. Also pulled down 5 rebounds, dished out 2 assists. Adlon Elamine had 8 out of the first 13 points for Utah State, but was kept in check after that. 12 points, did have 6 rebounds in this game. Elijah Perriman with 4. Tucker Anderson, nice to see Tucker back out there on the court getting some moments. He had 7 points in the game. Colby King with 3. Carson Templin with 8. Carson 4 of 8 from the free throw line. It seemed like every trip he went 1 for 2 in this game tonight. As for San Diego State, Reese Dixon-Waters put on a show. 20 points, 6 of 13, 3 of 6 from the three, but it was those back-to-back threes that really ignited San Diego State in the first half. All right, joining us now, head coach of the Aggies, Jerrod Calhoun. And, Coach, what's the message to the team after a tough one like that?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a lot. But first of all, tip your cap to San Diego State. Hungrier team usually wins. Tougher team usually wins. I think you would agree. You watched that with your own eyes. It's just a tougher team tonight, more prepared. Coach has got to own it as much as the team. We're in this together. So got to look at it and have a sense of urgency. I didn't think our urgency was very good. I thought we started off really good, and then when you put a team in the bonus like that, Scotty, it makes life really easy for them. No flow for us. The amount of times we didn't play off 2 feet, the amount of rush shots, and the defensive lapses were very, very concerning. But credit San Diego State. You know, it's going to be a photo finish. We've dropped 2 on the road, and we've got to get back to doing what got us in this position.
Felt like the ball stuck a little bit offensively. Was that more of San Diego State or you, or what was a combination of the two?
Yeah, I mean, it's usually a combination, not getting to the concepts, not moving the ball side to side. But I guess, you got to give them credit. I mean, I got to watch it. I can't. It's hard, Scotty, when you get you get crushed like that. It's hard to comprehend it right now. You want to go crazy. You want to challenge your guys, but you also understand we're down to 6 days, basically 6 days or whatever it is, 6-7 days, 2 or 3 practices left on the season. So you got to be, you got to do it for your seniors. Your 5 seniors have to lead the team. The best teams late in the year are player-led. They got to lead with their voices. Can't stand for this type of effort. Got to make a stand on Saturday, playing another great team. The league is very, very unforgiving. This league is brutal. So you've got to be ready every single night, ready to play basketball.
Defensive lapses, you gave up the 3 against Nevada, especially in the first half of that game, and then struggling with, again, threes. The 3-ball really got San Diego State going in the first half, and then the cuts and the backdoors and everything else started really working for him. Can you? I know it's still kind of early, but can you analyze where the defensive breakdowns happen?
It's always the same thing. You don't have good ball pressure. You're not in your gaps. I mean, basketball is pretty simple, Scotty. When you keep it simple, I thought our guys really didn't do a very good job of keeping the ball in front. We're in rotations, our pass battles. What I mean by that is when they're passing the ball, if it's a direct pass, you're going to give up a direct shot. I thought I worked for one of the greatest defensive minds ever in the history of college basketball. Used to tell us that. What hurts you are straight line passes. They lead to straight line shots. We didn't dictate any possessions. We had no want to on the defensive end. And you're not coming into Viejas beating these guys with your offense. We've never beat them with our offense. It's always been our defense. We were 3-0 heading into this game. You look at the scores. I've tried to explain that to the guys. So defensively, we've got to get back to the basics. We've got to guard the ball, stay out of rotations, win pass battles, know who we're guarding. And that's got to be led by our best players. That's got to be led by our seniors. And then, you got to try to stay positive. There's nothing to be positive about tonight. There's nothing you could take and say, wow, we did anything good in the game. So you got to wake up tomorrow, flush it, and you got to get back to watching the tape, making the corrections, and then also understanding you're tied for first. You have 3 games left. 2 out of 3 are at home. You've got to win ball games here down the stretch and try to win a league championship.
Coach, appreciate it. We'll
All
talk
right, see you,
tomorrow.
Scotty.
Thanks. There he is, Coach Jerrod Calhoun. Utah State drops a tough one, 89-72.
You were there, you watched the game, or you heard it all here on KVNU. So now it's your chance to give your thoughts and ask your questions about the action as KVNU Aggie Game Day continues with Aggie Call. The phone line is 435-753-KVNU. The text line is 435-554-1175. It's KVNU Aggie Call with J.D. Walker and Stockton Jukes.
Well, there are words in the English language that could be used to describe tonight what happened down in San Diego, but unfortunately, I am at a loss for them. Welcome to Aggie Call. We're live here in Logan as the Aggies drop 89-72, getting taken care of by San Diego State. The Aztecs coming out with just whooping the Aggies. Going straight to Jalen Moore here joining us before we get into the text line, 435-554-1175. Jalen, what did you see, my friend?
I just, like we kind of touched on before, I thought we couldn't let things happen from the Nevada game happen again tonight, and they did. There's a lot of, bad things that happened defensively. Like Coach said, we got to get back to what we were doing. Obviously, if you allow San Diego State to score 89 points, you're usually going to be in for a long night because they're a pretty solid defensive team. Obviously, we only shoot 40 and 30% from 3. They shoot 55% from the field, 44 from 3, out-rebound us. We have 11 assists, 12 turnovers. Those are all things that are just going to get you beat when you play a team like San Diego State, especially if they're shooting the ball well, which they were. So I think that's just big for us. And I think the biggest thing, we have to get back to what we were doing defensively, scoring, holding teams, around 70, under 70 points, things like that. So 3 games left. We obviously play Grand Canyon again on Saturday, who beat us. But I almost think we got to go 3-0 in those games. This is a huge win, obviously, for San Diego State to keep their tournament hopes alive, obviously keep their hopes alive of winning the Mountain West Conference. So I think there's a lot riding on the last 3 games, and it's almost like we need to go 3-0 in the remaining games for us to just still cement our spot at the top of the conference as well.
Some of Utah State Aggies' favorite officials tonight, Amy Bonner on the call. 46 total personal fouls called tonight, 21 on the Aztecs, 25 on the Aggies. Did you see any problem with the officiating tonight?
I mean, not necessarily. We kind of knew that we were going to see some different things, hopefully be pretty physical between the 2 teams. But obviously, I still think that there's just times when we're fouling too much as a team, too. I just think that's something that we need to clean up as well as our defense, is just being able to defend without fouling as well. Sometimes we do that in the games, and we look good doing that. In the last few games, I would say, we give up 80 against Nevada, 89 against San Diego State. I don't think there's necessarily much you can say about the officiating. I think it's just what we need to do as a program, as a team, ourselves defensively, and take pride on that side of the ball more so. So I think that's what it's mainly going to come down to in these 3 games, and then the tournament, and then the NCAA tournament as well. Like we said, our defense is going to have to travel with us. So I think that's mainly what we need to be touching on as a program at this time.
Jalen, what did you see? Is there anything specifically that bogged down the Aggies on offense? Of course, one of the things I noticed was about 32 minutes of gameplay. We only had 5 assists. We did end with 11 assists on the night, but a lot of those were towards the end of the game. And when the Aggies don't move the ball, it just does not function well. Is there anything else you saw in this matchup against the Aztecs that really stood out to you?
Not necessarily. I was pretty much going to say that. Obviously, offensively, we play best when we do get in transition, when we make the other team turn it over. I don't think we did that a lot this game. We didn't get opportunities to do that. And like you said, too, I think the ball just stuck offensively. We didn't get it moving. We're a team that's known for a lot of assists, getting a lot of people involved, not necessarily doing a lot of one-on-one things. And I think San Diego State did a good job of taking that away and making our guys play one-on-one and try to hit hard shots. Like you said, you got to give them credit for what they did defensively. But I think, we still scored 72 points. You give up almost 90 to San Diego State. Most of the time, you're not gonna beat them if you give up that many points to them. So I think the ball's got to be moving more offensively, try to get more opportunities in transition. But I also think, it kind of goes back to what we do defensively. I think when we get stops, we get deflections, we get live ball turnovers, our team looks the best. So I think that's also going to start on the defensive end, which will also help us offensively.
So Jalen, I want to ask you: is it time to panic? Is it time to, because this is the second time in the season that the Aggies have dropped back-to-back games. Now at the time of the season where you want the team to be elevating and kind of reaching the peak of their performance, it seems like we're having a little engine trouble if we're cruising at altitude level. How big of is a panic situation? Do we hit the panic button? Is this something to be worried about? Or are you waiting to see what happens this Saturday at Grand Canyon?
Yeah, I think we're okay. Usually, we've lost a couple of games back-to-back, and we respond fairly well. San Diego State's obviously a very hard place to play. They're going to beat a lot of people there. I don't think necessarily panic yet. We've had chances in the games. Obviously, we had chances against Nevada, so it's not like we got blown out. Obviously, San Diego State took care of business fairly easy, but the Nevada game was close. I think we see what happens on Saturday, see what effort we give against Grand Canyon. Are they going to beat us on the boards again? Are they going to out-physical us? Are we not going to play well defensively? If that happens for a third game in a row towards the end of the season, I think that's the time when you maybe start to rethink and panic a little bit. But so far, I think we'll be okay. The conference is good. And like we said, we had chances against Nevada. Had our chances tonight, we just fell flat. They scored the ball well, and we didn't defend well. So I think we're going to have opportunities, but we got to see what happens on Saturday.
All right, Jalen, you take some rest, man. We're going to get to the text line up next, and we'll talk to you on Saturday.
Yep, sounds great. Thank you, guys.
All right, Jalen Moore joining us here on Aggie Call. Coming up, we're going to take a break. Coming back, we'll get to the text line, 435-554-1175. Just giving you a heads up. It is going to be a very quick post-game presser from Coach Calhoun because Jason told me that they let him know that it was going to be short. But he just walked out of the studio down the hall, so that means they're already done. So we'll get to your text questions up if you have any thoughts on the Aggies' performance tonight. 435-554-1175. That's 435-554-1175. Aggie Call continues after this.
If you live in Box Elder County, help for ear, nose, and throat issues just got a whole lot closer. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is now open in their new Brigham City location. With over 75 years of combined provider experience, Dr. Jackson Deere is ready to care for allergies, asthma, sinus problems, hearing loss, and more. Finally, Cache Valley ENT in the Brigham City community at 990 South Medical Drive next to the Brigham City Hospital. Call 753-7880 to schedule or visit CacheValleyENT.com. Cache Valley ENT, trusted care now in Brigham City.
Hi, this is Ashley with LSS Insurance. Medicare can seem complicated, but it doesn't have to be. Let us help. We'll answer all your questions and get you specific information that fits your needs. Medicare is not one size fits all. We'll help you find the right coverage for you. Call 752-9493. You can ignore the TV and the junk mail. We'll get you the exact information you need. We will help you access the benefits that are important to you. Call LSS Insurance at 752-9493.
This is Ryan at My Mattress. Life is good. Life at My Mattress is good too. Why might I say that? Because today is a good day to slay a Goliath. The other day I went into a mattress store here in Logan that has 2,500 stores across the country. I'd say that's a Goliath. We were 20% less expensive on every bed that we both offer. We may not have 2,500 stores, but we are number one in Cache Valley. Better product and better prices. Isn't it time to sleep exceptionally? Only at My Mattress.
If you live in Box Elder County, help for ear, nose, and throat issues just got a whole lot closer. Cache Valley Ear, Nose, and Throat is now open in their new Brigham City location. With over 75 years of combined provider experience, Dr. Jackson Deere is ready to care for allergies, asthma, sinus problems, hearing loss, and more. Finally, Cache Valley ENT in the Brigham City community at 990 South Medical Drive next to the Brigham City Hospital. Call 753-7880 to schedule or visit CacheValleyENT.com. Cache Valley ENT, trusted care now in Brigham City.
Yeah, it's cold, but winter is no excuse to let that junk vehicle sit around another month. DD Auto and Salvage in Logan is paying top dollar right now for junk cars and scrap metal, and they'll even pick it up. And here's the big news. With Box Elder County salvage yard gone, DD Auto proudly serves Brigham City to Malad and beyond. With the Valley View Highway complete, it's an easy drive, or just let DD Auto and Salvage come to you. Call 787-1204. That's 787-1204. DD Auto and Salvage, turning winter junk into serious cash.
There's something happening here, but what it is ain't exactly clear. There's a man with a gun over there, telling me I got to beware.
KVNU Game Day is back with Aggie Call. Call 435-753-KVNU or text 435-554-1175.
Stockton, I think a lot of Aggie fans asking that question tonight. What happened? 89-72, my friend. Your thoughts on what we saw tonight before we jump into the text line here on KVNU, 435-554-1175.
Yeah, pretty abhorrent basketball from Utah State tonight. No other way to put it. They played a lazy basketball game today. It was bad. I said in the pregame this game was going to be won from the three-point line. Utah State shot 29.6% from three on 27 threes, made only 8 of them. Half of them were ill-advised, and they left Reese Dixon-Waters alone in the corner far too often. If only we had game tape from last month that could have told us he can hit those uncontested shots, JD. Only.
It's definitely something. We see those corner threes, and, hat tip to the FS1 broadcast team for calling us Utes. And there was another one,
and
too.
The WCC.
And the WCC that Carson Templins has a chance to win the Sixth Man of the Year in the WCC.
Rough product.
Yeah,
tonight.
it was. But then you found out that one of the guys his dad was a Aztec alum. So
I guess that's all the prep you need to do.
It was just really weak on the prep, and it's something we pay attention to. But overall, man, just a rough night. And getting into the text line here, 435-554-1175. We're going to be here as long as you guys are here. There is some action on the text line, but I think Stockton, a lot of Aggie fans may have checked out with this. Yeah. At some point, the Aztecs were up by, I believe, 24 points.
Yeah, we have a text actually in here from 8968, one of our friends of the show. He just said, I don't want to talk about it, so I'm just going to try and get some sleep. Good night. That's probably about the best. I wish I could join you in that escapade. But
head on down to My Mattress. You'll get the best sleep ever. They sponsor Aggie Game Day, and good stuff for, after things like this happen.
Oof, yeah. So let's just go ahead and jump into the text line here. As you may imagine, not a whole lot of positive sentiments here. First, from 8969, this was during the game. They were in attendance. They had the video of the F. Carson Templin chant, and they're asking, isn't that a technical? No, it's not. That's a passionate student section. They're allowed to say things like that. If security or if the officials feel like it gets out of hand, then they can eject people from the crowd.
True.
But
and didn't they? No, I was watching another game. I think somebody got ejected from the game. It was the game before, wasn't it?
Yep. So someone got ejected from the Colorado game in the slot before us. But listen, you got to be prepared for an environment like that at San Diego State. Especially after we beat them in the first game of the series. You go to Viejas, it's a hard place to play. Their students are going to be like that against the number one team in the conference. They needed that win desperately after losing the last two. And Utah State needed a win tonight too. San Diego State was the only team that seemed to care about winning tonight.
It was. It just, I think, I saw it on, I think it was Brady Clark who covers the Aggies. Said something. It's almost like the Aggies have been redlining the last two games. It's like they're in like third gear. They need to get to six somehow, but they're just running that red line, and it's just not a working combination right now. There's just something that's missing.
It goes back to the Memphis game that we had 11 days ago. That was a bad scheduling decision. I know that it looked like a good game last year, but even then you have to consider how we were playing in February in the Mountain West last season. Yes, maybe if Memphis plays like they did last year, this year, then that game means something, but it just didn't. It doesn't mean anything. And all it did is cost us a rest day, and we've been gassed on this road trip. We've seen it. We saw it in Reno, and we saw it even worse tonight in San Diego State. This is kind of just a lack of foresight in this whole situation. And I understand wanting to have a quality non-conference opponent, but in the middle of February, you have a couple months to schedule that game earlier in the season before Memphis turns into a joke. I'm really disappointed with how that all turned out, and I hope that we learn a lesson from that and don't try and schedule non-conference games in the middle of February for several years. We'll see how that plays out. But just to get back to the gist of this text from 8969, you have to be prepared for an environment like that. They're going to chant stuff like that at you. We do the same thing, maybe with a little less vulgarity just because of the culture and the community in Utah. But that's completely within bounds from a student section. And for Carson, Coach left him in the game way too long because Carson let those guys in his head immediately, and they never got out.
I think also if you want to compare and contrast, the chant that our friends down in Provo face is more of a religious directive at this. This is more of a personal. And, you got to look back to the Memphis game, the kid that was, domestic violence, alleged assault and everything. Those charges,
we're not shy about it. So
no, they weren't, but those charges were dismissed. So it's all kind of, I guess, fair game there. I know it is what it is.
Well, Carson's a fan favorite for every other school in the Mountain West, too, because he's an energizer bunny. He's a spark plug in some games. Tonight, he was not. He played a terrible game tonight. We'll get into the numbers in a little bit.
And for the opposing fan bases, Stockton, he's a lightning rod.
Yeah. He attracts attention because he plays with a lot of ferocity, and that's going to come back to bite sometimes. It seriously did tonight, and for whatever reason, Coach just let him play when he mentally shouldn't have been on the floor.
All right, let's get down to the text line. 5662 starting us off here. Trying to be positive, didn't expect to win, but this was embarrassing. Got our first flashback to last year's end of the season meltdown. Hope it doesn't happen again. Looked all out of sorts, almost frantic effort at both ends. I think that's kind of the red line vibe that I'm seeing.
Yep.
Bad shot selection, soft defense. First time this team looked uninspired, like they didn't want to be there. Probably some tired legs or minds. The Aztecs were backed into a quarter, needed to win this one. I agree. Who wanted it more? Played smothering defense, shot better than normal. We'll see what this Aggie team is made of in the final three. Absolutely agree. Absolutely agree to see who is going to step up. Are Mason and MJ going to step up earlier in the game? You saw Mason take over, but at that point, the lead had grown a little bit too much. You need those leaders of the Aggies to step up early. I mean, Adlin leading off the game, scoring the first, I believe, 7 points of the game.
And then he went dead.
Yeah, we've got to get the scorers back in working on the offense, because even if we play electric defense, which we didn't tonight, we need that offense to work and some of those guys to be back in. So the response is going to be huge and a real quick turnaround, Stockton.
Yeah, and the lack of inspiration, I would say, not just the guys on the floor, extends to the entire organization tonight, because this is one of the first games I've seen for Utah State where, trying to force the issue, redlining the whole game, because they're trying to force a game plan that just didn't work. They never tried to adjust. That zone defense they had, They kept collapsing into the key the entire first half. That left a lot of shooters open in the corners. Utah State has no peripheral vision on defense right now. They have no idea where guys are off the ball, and that needs to change. And the coaching staff not being able to adjust to that on the defensive end of the floor and not adjusting the offensive game plan, 40 minutes of bad basketball tonight.
It definitely. I agree with you. You're listening to Aggie Call on KVNU, 610 AM, 102.1 FM in Logan, Utah, as we reach midnight here in Cache Valley. 435-554-1175. Coming up next on the text line, 9315. We've got two here. The game tonight was hard to watch. It went like this for most of the night. Shot made by San Diego, then a foul, rinse and repeat. Also, a lot of on and out shots by the Aggies, or in and out shots. I agree. I heard that rim just brick so many times. With fouls, I don't mean bad calls against the Aggies. I mean certain refs saying, look at me, I can beat the record for fouls. Amy Bonner makes it hard for the Aggies to use their fast-paced and transition basketball. I didn't even see an opportunity for that to get out. Continues with, well, now the pressure is just ratcheted up for USU. No more room for losing in the regular season. Seen a lot of sentiment on that, too. Going to have to take care of business. That UNLV game is going to be no cakewalk as you have to go down to the Thomas and Mack. But having the Lobos and the Lopes coming into town, it's going to be a tall order. 0783 next up on the text line. About the only good thing in the past few days was the hockey game Sunday where the USA won gold. That was exciting, but here's starting another winning streak Saturday by beating Grand Canyon. Yeah, it's something. The Aggies, I don't think, have lost 3 in a row since 21-22. That would be a huge kind of landmine, Stockton.
Yeah, it's. I mean, we've talked about Utah State having their own destiny in their hands for the last couple weeks, and they threw it away in the last 4 days. They were in first place with a cushion on Saturday afternoon. Now they're not. Magic number's 3. We have 3 games left. You got to win 3. There's landmines all over the schedule. You have Grand Canyon, who beat you by 10, at UNLV, who beat you at home by 10, and New Mexico, who you beat on the road by 20, but New Mexico is going to be coming in there with everything to play for.
Yeah, the Aggies are going to get the best shot from all these teams trying to set up
They're
seeding,
all landmines.
Yeah, for the Mountain West tournament to hope. And even at this point, you've got to call everybody dangerous. And don't look now, the Wolfpack looking really serious the last couple of games, making big statements against the Aggies and the Lobos. 8632 with the hashtag Calhoun Collapse. I think you've got to look at the organization from top to bottom and everybody in the assessment of what's going on. You want to look at the metrics. The metrics say when the Aggies pass the ball, they win. Having 5 assists, or I think it was 6 assists at 32 minutes of play. Stockton, that's not going to get the job done.
No, terrible shot selection tonight, by the way. Not using enough of the shot clock, not moving the ball. You had weird possessions where you made too many passes and threw the ball away, and then you had weird possessions where you didn't make any passes and shot a terrible 3 with 25 seconds on the shot clock. And you did that with like 6 minutes left in the game, too, by the way. They were trying to force the issue the entire night, never adjusted defensively for that matter. Only got 22 points off the bench out of 72 total, so your starters had to give you 50, and even that wasn't even close to enough. 28 points in the paint, and then you look at San Diego State, 42 bench points, 36 points in the paint. You just got dominated on both sides of the ball tonight, and hopefully this is a wake-up call for Utah State because they play like this the rest of the season. They are going to end up as a poor seed in the NCAA tournament. You have to win out, and you probably need to win the Mountain West tournament to go anywhere higher than an 8 seed right now. If you don't win the Mountain West tournament, I could see us dropping to an 11.
Okay, so I got a hypothetical. We drop one of these games, we go 2-1 in the last season. What does it look like if we're bounced in the first round
of the Mountain West tournament?
Yeah,
maybe a 13 seed. It depends on the quality of the loss and the metrics and the opponent and all that stuff. Utah State's in a good spot because they had such a strong season to this point. But to lose these games down the stretch and to look as bad as you have all season with 3 games left in the season, that's a bad place to be, and that's stuff that's going to raise the committee's eyebrows.
I mean, the committee isn't just going to look at what have you done for me lately.
No.
Yeah, it's just going to be there. 9227, a couple texts. You can still get in here, 435-554-1175. Got about 4.5 minutes to Coach Calhoun, and we'll be wrapping it up here on Aggie Call This road trip would have been perfect split. Didn't. Still control a championship goal, but obviously the margin of error, we used it all up on this road trip. Absolutely agree with you there, 92-27. Looks like 39-63, first-time texture at the game tonight. Oh, this was the one you read about the
Oh, this is a different one, actually. About
okay.
Yeah.
At the game tonight, after San Diego State went on a 5-0 run at the beginning of the second half, it looks so defeated. I hope they find a way to play all 40 minutes. What are your thoughts on the fans shouting "F you, Templin"? Just part of the game, or what fans around us tonight, that's what fans around us thought?
Yeah.
I mean, it is.
It's college basketball.
I don't know if the herd gets vulgar in
No, but
chants.
that's, again, just because of the dominant religion, dominant culture in Utah. If it wasn't Utah, yeah, we would.
It was. I mean, I had a Wolfpack fan pour beer and throw beer at myself, which, okay, that's fine. My son, Jeremy, who was like 11 at the time, got doused with beer. And it's a different environment outside. And so if you're used to going to sports here in Utah, it's almost like going to a professional hockey game after going to an NBA game. There's a different culture. It's just different. They do get skin. They do take their pound of flesh in the herd, and they get creative with it, but they don't go using the words that the FCC bans, which, yeah, I'm not a prude or anything like that. I have been known to, my dad had a mouth like a sailor. I am a wordsmith, but also there are so many words in the English language you can use to creatively talk smack that using swear words just kind of lazy.
Yeah. There's all sorts of conflicting studies where people that swear more have a lower IQ, people that swear more have a higher IQ. I think it's all just old wives' tales. People have their preferences, people have their values and whatnot, and they don't always align across the country, across the globe. Like, people are different. That's okay. Yeah, that chant's going to get in some people's feelings, but that's the point. Like, that's what they're trying to do, and they did it very well to Carson tonight. He played a terrible game because he couldn't get the student section out of his head, and he kept trying to jack up threes and make these plays that were ill-advised to get them to quiet down, and it only fueled them further. So that, to me, is actually, this seems like a good point to get into some numbers here, because there's some questionable stuff. So we'll talk about Carson here. 8 points, 2 for 5 shooting, 0 for 2 from 3, 4 for 8 from the stripe after foul baiting on several possessions. Like, if you're going to go and you're going to look for a foul, you got to hit your free throws. It's that simple. 3 fouls, no assists, 3 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 1 steal, a negative 15 in 18 minutes. Gary Clark, on the other hand, played 5 minutes, a +3, 2 fouls, 1 turnover, didn't even get a shot off in the 5 minutes he played. And for as much as Utah State lacks physicality and lacks presence in the key, why is Gary Clark still in jail? In a game like tonight, he needed to play more than 5 minutes. Carson was not the guy tonight, and we knew that after 8 minutes, but he played 10 more.
I mean, we don't know what goes on in practice. We've heard that practice translates into minutes on the floor. Of course, this also plays into this text, too. I want to read this because it plays into your theme, 8824. Can't help but worry about this team closes out the season. Absolutely. But this is where it is. Our biggest issue seems to be lack of height and talent in the paint. Templin has to play too many minutes because the other options are so poor. The staff chose to add Keller and Clark in the offseason. Neither one has been the answer. The last 2 games have been squarely on this coaching staff and the unwillingness to make adjustments. Kind of plays into what you're talking about, Stockton, but also one of the themes we've heard. If you want to get a starting big man that's a 7-footer, 6'11", you're looking at $1 million plus NIL budget. And from just what I've heard, that would be close to half the budget for the Aggies.
And look, I don't think it's fair to say that Gary Clark hasn't been the answer. We haven't seen enough from him to know that. He's not getting quality minutes. And, yeah, you can say, oh, there's stuff that happens in practice. I understand the onus behind that and the motivation behind that. But at this time of year, you have to be willing to put guys out there and take guys off the floor that aren't getting it done. Like, this is crunch time. March, it's just after midnight now. It's February 26th. March is on Sunday. Like, it's not about, oh, you got to earn minutes in practice, got to do this, do that, and the other thing. We know Gary Clark's physical. We know that, he's been quality in certain situations. When Carson has 18 minutes at a negative 15 and is not shooting the ball well, is not making his free throws, is turning the ball over, you got to be willing to put Gary Clark in the game for more than 5 minutes.
Well, looking at what it was here, so it's got his play log in here for 5 minutes, which makes it really easy to look at. He checked in the game at 13:44 to go in the first half. The score was 13-8. The Aggies kind of brought it back to 15-13, but then there was an offensive foul and then an offensive turnover, and he was subbed out immediately. Back about 1 minute left in the second half, he was subbed in at 1:07, committed a personal foul at 1:06, and then was subbed out. Went back in at 9 minutes to go in the game, and then subbed out at 6:30. So it looks like some performance issues or some quick fouls. Pull them out. I know. Just remember, I'm just observing. So don't shoot me there, Stockton. I know you're coming out both barrels. I'm just trying to look at the evidence and find maybe there's some sort of frustration with these fouls and these turnovers. Or 15-3 is probably the closest it got at that point.
So then why is that same discipline not being extended to Drake Allen and to Carson Templin? Drake turned the ball over, had 5 personal fouls, fouled out with 8 minutes left in the game. Carson had 3 personal fouls, 2 turnovers, 18 minutes. Like,
they're your guys. They're the guys that have been with the program. I'm grasping at straws right now.
I understand what you're saying. That's not the answer. It's not. We're not playing the seniority game. This is not high school basketball anymore. Like, you got to put the guys out there that are going to do stuff. And to be so strict and so tight-leashed on Gary, you have to let your big men foul. You have to. That's part of the game. They're going to foul. They're playing the most physical defensive position on the floor. They're going to foul.
I wonder if I'll have to go back and look at the tape, but that 15-13, it could have been a chance for the Aggies to tie the game right there, and they went down on the offensive possession, and he committed an offensive foul away from the ball, I believe, and that turned the ball over to San Diego State.
I need to go look at that foul again, though, because there were so many ticky-tack calls in this game where I get that you have some issues with him fouling quickly and all that stuff, but you got to let your big men play through some of that stuff.
But
you have to.
It could be when mental errors are made, they're pulled out.
He's not the only one, though.
I wish I knew the answers. I wish I had the magic 8 ball. We got a couple more texts coming in here I want to get to. 5662, we got you in here right now.
This is about the Templin chant.
The herd does the same to Miles Bird when it comes to the spectrum, just less vulgar. Yeah. I think it is.
That's one of the fun things about college basketball is you got student sections, and they're going to say stuff.
Was Tucker getting Clark's minutes?
No, they play different positions.
I think at the time, Calhoun was just trying to find some sort of spark or something, and Tucker's had a pretty good run there.
Tucker actually had decent minutes tonight if we want to take a look at his 7 points, 2 for 3 shooting, 1 for 2 from deep. 12 minutes, was a -2 in the plus-minus, but 2 fouls, no turnovers, 1 rebound. Pretty solid role player minutes from him, and would like to see his shooting get a little more consistent and get a little more reliable minutes out of him down the stretch. But, Tucker's not going to be the answer for what we're going through right now. He'll help, but he's not the answer.
8787. One thing I'm noticing with this team is the games that we play the worst when we get out rebounded. Rebounding has been an issue all season. It's due to our lack of physicality in the paint sometimes. Yes, we have times where the offense makes up for it, but we've got to figure out our rebounding problem if we want a shot at feeding anybody in the big dance, or beating anybody, pardon me. Let's finish out the season strong and leave the conference as regular season champs. Go Aggies.
This is actually one of the reasons that I really would like to see Gary Clark play some more minutes, is because he is able to absorb physicality on the glass a lot better than Carson Templin is. Gary's averaging 5 rebounds per game. Carson's averaging 4. They're pretty close. It's 4.3 for Carson to 4.9 for Gary. But we saw so many times with Carson tonight where he had the better positioning on a rebound and just got beat to the basketball and just could not absorb the physicality that was being presented to him on the rebound and lost the ball multiple times. When he had the positioning, he had rights to the basketball, and he just lost it. He didn't have the composure, the physicality to make those plays, and that's one of the things that we brought Gary Clark in to do. I've mentioned this before. He comes from the Southland Conference, a very physical brand of basketball. He is built to absorb stuff like that. And I know the Mountain West is probably a step up in physicality from the Southland Conference, but what we've seen from a lot of these guys down low, notably Carson Templin and Zach Keller, is they struggle with the ball near or in their hands when presented with physicality in the key. They don't know how to handle it well. They don't know how to maneuver around it well, and it's very hot or cold with how they deal with that kind of stuff. Gary is a little more reliable in that sense, and that's where I need to see him come in and play some more minutes is even if he does pick up 2 fouls in those 5 minutes that he plays, you got to let him play a little bit longer and fight for the basketball and establish himself physically because San Diego State never had to deal with his physicality tonight, and that's why they were so comfortable down low is they didn't have anyone to truly challenge the strength of their big men. No one on our team could do it tonight.
It has been, when the losses have stacked up for the Aggies, it has been something that has been there. Out-rebounding, the lack of moving the ball. How the Aggies rebound after this loss, this 2-game skid against Grand Canyon, is going to be something we're watching out for the next couple of days as the Aggies coming back into town. I imagine practice tomorrow, and then the matchup as Camp Calhoun is still camping outside the Spectrum. Going to take our final break, come back, and we'll hear from Coach Calhoun and get on out of here as Aggie Call continues here on KVNU. Need a great deal near USU? Mention Aggie 79 and score a room at the Baum Hotel for just $79. Enjoy charming, homey hospitality in downtown Logan. You'll love the clean, spacious rooms and friendly, attentive staff. Take advantage of free breakfast, free Wi-Fi, and a seasonal outdoor pool. At that price, it can't be beat. $79 rooms with Aggie 79 at the Baum Hotel. Value every day of the week. Call 435-752-5220. That's 752-5220.
Imagine your wedding day. Elegant, simple, yet stunning, stress-free. It's your day. It's all about you. Whether you're looking for small and simple or have a grander idea, the Riverwoods Conference Center will accommodate your every need. Choose the inside ballroom elegance or outside along the natural decor of the beautiful Logan River. A Riverwoods event planner will work personally with you to make sure your event is exactly how you've envisioned it. The Riverwoods Conference Center, where your happily ever after begins. Google Riverwoods Conference Center or call 750-5151.
We're talking with Tyson from Mountain Valley Heating and Air Conditioning about air quality.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would be surprised to learn that the air inside your home is 5 times worse than the air outside.
So Tyson, what can people do?
We install steam humidifiers into homes. Steam humidifiers use 1 gallon of water per hour, and they use 100% of that 1 gallon to humidify the air in your home. So if you call Mountain Valley, we'll come out and do a free assessment and see if it's a good fit for you. The phone number is 435-753-5170.
Hey, did you drop the ball on Valentine's Day? If so, I can help you make up for it. This is Jarek from Jarek's Fine Jewelry. No matter where you're at in your relationship, we have something she'll love. Stop in and we'll help you pick her out a thoughtful yet inexpensive necklace, pair of earrings, bracelet, watch, or even if you're ready for the next step, with our selection of over 3,000 designs, we'll find her the perfect engagement ring. Even after Valentine's Day, it's all about the romance. Make it special, make it Jarek's.
Hi, this is Emily with Serenoni. Some gifts say happy birthday, some say congratulations, and some say I'm thinking of you. At Serenoni, we believe the best gifts tell a story. That's why we personalize our ultra-soft minky blankets with custom embroidery, names, and meaningful details that turn them into something truly special. Perfect for new babies, birthdays, sports teams, weddings, and even in times of loss. When a little comfort means everything. Because when a gift is personal, it becomes part of their story. Shop online at Serenoni.com or visit our showroom on 10th West right next to iFit.
This Aggie broadcast is brought to you by Riverwoods Conference Center, Cache Valley's largest, most versatile event center on News Talk KVNU, covering Utah State sports like no one else.
Little after midnight here on KVNU, sitting at a warm 40 degrees outside the Radio Ranch. You're listening to Aggie Call. We are live here after the Aggies lose 89-72. The San Diego State Aztecs. Coming up in just a second, we'll hear from Coach Calhoun. But Stockton, we've got one more text on the line.
Yeah, just to kind of highlight the whole Gary Clark conversation, 8632. Shout out to Gary Clark tonight, highest plus minus on the team, but gets less playing time than Tucker Anderson. Calhoun complains about not having enough money to recruit big men and then actively sabotages the most talented one on the roster. 16-point game with 8 minutes left, and Templin decides it's a great idea to let it fly with time on the shot clock. Dude has zero game awareness. Look, I think Carson, again, is just very hot or cold at times. sometimes it can be a really good thing for him to start seeing the threes fall. And then on a night like tonight, it's a really bad thing that he's been hitting his threes lately because he took a couple very poorly advised three-point shots. This is not, to me, like a setting a new standard for Carson, but this was a bad game for him objectively, and I think a lot of it had to do with the mental fatigue of dealing with that San Diego State crowd and Calhoun leaving him in for minutes that he just shouldn't have been playing.
All right, that's going to wrap it up for the text line of the show. Going to get into about 5 minutes of Coach Calhoun postgame. The guys were trying to get on out and get back to Logan. So here's his postgame comments. No player tonight. Here's Coach Calhoun on KVNU.
Hey, Coach. Sean from the Herald Journal. Just a really tough night all the way around. Just kind of some general thoughts on the game tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to give San Diego State a ton of credit. I thought we got outcoached, outplayed. Just one of those nights, nothing went right. Bad offense, bad defense. But, you got to give San Diego State a ton of credit. Usually the hungrier team wins. Obviously, they were the hungrier team tonight. So we got to get back and understand. We got 3 games left. At the end of the year, it's all about player-led teams. And it's right in front of us. And we got to bounce back for sure.
Coach, this is Jason Walker with Cache Valley Daily. I want to ask about you guys' three-point shooting in the first half. Shot 17 three-pointers, I think only 4 layups. Just what kind of went into that shot distribution there?
I mean, I think it's what San Diego State does. They're 7 foot, they're 6'11", whatever they are. I mean, they discombobulate, Jason, is what they do. They just force you to take bad shots. When you're at home, you're more confident. When you're up here at Viejas, we've never beaten them with our offense. It really has nothing to do with our offense, to be honest with you. We were 3-0 heading into these games against Brian Dutcher's teams, and we won every game with our defense. We usually don't score any points against these guys. We usually get about what we had tonight, and we usually win. So I'm more concerned about the defense than the offense, to be honest with you.
Hey, Coach Patrick Maywan from the Ag Ship. What stood out to you as really going wrong on the defensive end?
Defense is about, guarding the basketball, staying out of rotations. I thought our pass battles were really bad. I worked with the Hall of Fame coach. I played for one. I coached with one. I thought the greatest line I learned on the defensive side was direct passes lead to direct shots, right? So when you're not causing any pressure on the pass, guys just catch in and they shoot direct shots, at the goal. So I thought our pass battles, our ability to help guys off ball and closeouts was as bad as I've seen all year, to be honest with you. So I think San Diego State did a really good job. Obviously, when you make shots, the ball gets more popping and all that kind of stuff. But the other thing is we got to stay off the line. I mean, we're just fouling continually. So that's discipline, right? I mean, we got to do a much, much better job keeping teams off the line. The first 4 or 5 minutes, we were great. We had that lead. And then as soon as they got in the bonus, it was pretty much, there was no momentum, and it's just easy baskets.
Coach, you mentioned all those factors on defense. Do you feel like that's something that played a factor in how well San Diego State shot up the rim? Because they've struggled to shoot at the rim the last few games and did so against you. They struggled against you last time. Were those things kind of what led to them? I think they made 16 layups or dunks in this game.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, just the whole thing was a disaster, buddy. I mean, I don't, until I watch it, I mean, what did we give up? 89 points. I mean, when you give up that many points, it's guarding the ball. It's them attacking you in closeouts. It's your help side defense. It's bad offense, getting it in transition. I mean, just the whole multitude of things tonight. But I just forget basketball. I thought they were just hungrier than us. That's probably the disappointing thing. I thought they looked a step faster, you know what I mean? Like closer to the ball, winning 50-50 plays. Like that's all this is about, guys, down the stretch. Which team wants it more? Throw out the schemes. Like you can have schemes, you got to change a little bit, but at the end of the day, man, the hungrier team's going to win a championship.
Carson Frost with the Utah Statesman. Coach, we've seen a string of games lately where you guys have gotten a little outworked in the paint. How much is a concern heading into the home stretch of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you lose 2 in a row, there's a lot of concern. But I think, we've been through this before. This league is an absolute grind. It's a very difficult league. It's why we've gotten, 4 or 5 teams in the NCAA tournament. Like there's every night presents a different challenge. So yeah, I mean, I think we got to do a much, much better job, keeping the ball in front. A lot of times it's not, the bigs, they're helping up because the guards are getting beat. It's everybody's job to protect the paint. It's not just the big guys,
Coach Calhoun's post-game thoughts here on KVNU Aggie Call. Stockton, final thoughts as we get ready to wrap things up.
Yeah, that stunk. That was not fun. But here's the good news, and here's what we have to look forward to.
I like good news. I like looking forward to good things. Lay it on me, my friend.
It's a new day, so we're going to flush that one. Big game on Saturday at home, 8 p.m. We're doing a new thing in the student section. I don't know if you saw this earlier, JD.
The Cal
but they're doing the Cal print T-shirts for everyone in the student section on Saturday. There are already multiple tents outside the Spectrum for that game. I saw them when I was walking around campus. They actually, when I was in one of my classes in a building over by the Spectrum, there were 2 more tents that popped up in my 50-minute lecture window. So they're filtering in over there already. It's going to be rowdy. It's going to be loud. It is a must-win game, as are the remaining 3 for Utah State. Utah State still holds their destiny in their hands as of now. You lose another game, you don't have that luxury anymore. But the tiebreaker in the Mountain West, if you split the head-to-head regular season series, it goes to your head-to-head against the next best team in the Mountain West. Right now, that is New Mexico. San Diego State is 1-1 against the Lobos. We play them on the last day of the season. We win that game, having won the previous 2. We're Mountain West champions in the regular season, and then we have the number 1 seed going into the tournament. So, flush this one. This was a rough road game at a tough place to play. We'll be back Saturday with some ferocity, and I feel like Grand Canyon should be terrified of Utah State right now because San Diego State just lost 2 bad games and spanked us tonight in their own building. So if trends continue, we should be in for a good one Saturday.
Looking for some home cooking as the herd is already camping out. Should be a good one. We've got a 7 o'clock KVNU Aggie Game Day tip time coming up this Saturday. We're going to go home and get some shut-eye. Craig and Will be in this morning at 6 o'clock on the Valley's Morning News. I'll be in just a little bit later. For Stockton Jukes, I'm J.D. Walker. Thanks for spending your night with us, Cache Valley. And as always, go Aggies.
Utah State broadcast has been a presentation of News Talk KVNU and the Cache Valley Media Group, the heritage home for the Aggies.